Mom, can I talk to you for a second? More than anything, it was the tone of Julie's voice that caught her mother's attention. Julie sounded more than a little nervous. This had the tone of a conversation of some importance. Sally's first thought was that Julie might have done something wrong and was in trouble. She sounded like a kid who knows they are in for it. Well, at least she is coming to me first, Sally thought to herself. Of course, sweetie, what is it? Well, you know how you and Dad always told me that if I ever wanted to try something that I could come to you guys and you would let me try it under your supervision. Sally felt a little twinge in her stomach. She knew exactly what Julie was talking about. She and her husband Ted had a long-standing policy with their only child regarding the things that will come along as one grew up, stuff like smoking and drinking. The deal was this: if you want to try something, come to us and we will let you try it under our terms. Ted and her both agreed that the best way for their child to be exposed to something like drinking or smoking was not through peer pressure, or at a party where who knows what could happen, but rather in the home where they could supervise that activity and teach their child responsibility. Ted and Sally had made this little policy clear: if you try it with us, we will let you do it and you won't get in trouble, but if we find out you tried it without us, it was big trouble. Sally said to herself that she should have seen it coming. That tone of voice certainly explained what this was about. However, it is one thing to have talked about the policy, and another thing to have your 15-year-old daughter come to you and ask to put it to the test. Okay, stay calm, Sally told herself. After all, wasn't this a good sign that their little girl was trying to do things right? An encouraging sign even? Yes, I certainly do, Julie. Sally answered back, and, well, I guess I should say I am glad that you are coming to me about it. But, well, you are still awfully young to want to try any of the stuff we talked about. Are your friends doing stuff like smoking? Oh, Mom. That is totally not what this is about. No, none of my friends smoke. Julie's first tone of voice had caught Sally's attention and this one did so even more. Julie's voice made it sound like she had never ever thought of that stuff yet, and that it still grossed her out. Apparently that particular discussion was still a ways off. Sally let out a silent sigh of relief. But if this wasn't about drinking and smoking, what was it about? Oh, I guess I just assumed that since you mentioned the trying policy, that was what you were talking about. So is this not about our trying things policy? No, it is, it's just that I am not interested in drinking or smoking. For a brief second Sally thought about drugs. She got really nervous, and asked. Sweetie, if this is about drugs. Mom, no, it is not about drugs. Look, forget it. I shouldn't have even brought it up. Just forget about it. Julie said in a sad, defeated and almost pleading way. With that Julie left the kitchen and went to her room. Sally was left sitting alone in the kitchen really perplexed. Okay, this is really odd, thought Sally. Well, what should I do? My child came to me with what sounds like something she is nervous about. I don't think I should let it go. If I read her right, that last bit there was a desperate call for me to follow. I better go see what this is all about. Julie was sitting on her bed when she heard her mom knock on her door. She hadn't left the kitchen more than 2 minutes ago. Come in, said a depressed-sounding Julie. Sally opened the door and slowly entered the room. Her daughter was sitting up on her bed hugging her big pillow and looking at her with eyes that said, I am glad you came after me. Sally sat down next to her only child and put her arm around her shoulder. Julie, sweetie, listen. I am sorry if I thought you were talking about something else, but I can't read your mind. But having known you for 15 years now, I can sometimes come close. I don't know what it is that you wanted to talk about, but I feel like it is something important to you. And if it is important to you, then it is important to me. Are you sure you don't want to tell me about it? Well, Mom, I do, but I am really scared that you will think I am a freak or something. Sweetie, I would never think that. Okay, That next morning was a Friday, and Julie woke up to her alarm clock telling her to get up and start getting ready for school. It was pretty early, and Julie's thoughts were focused on the speech she had to give that day in English class. The topic was Edgar Allan Poe, and Julie felt ready. She still got pretty nervous talking in front of people, but at least she knew her subject well. She crawled out of bed and headed downstairs to get some breakfast. Mom and Dad were in the kitchen. Dad looked like he was about to leave for work, briefcase in one hand, and a bagel in the other. He saw Julie come in. "Morning, kiddo. What's shaken?" "Morning, Dad. I have that speech today. In English class. The one on Po." Ted asked. "Yeah. Well, good luck, honey. I am sure you will do fine. I have to run to work. Tell me about it when I get home tonight, okay?" With that, Ted came over and kissed his daughter on the forehead. Then he went up to his wife and kissed her goodbye. On his way out the door, he turned back to Sally and said, "Oh, do me a favor and call me at work. I really want to know how this turns out." And he closed the door behind him. For a split second, Julie wondered what he was talking about. But she put it out of her mind as she started pouring the milk on her cereal. As she sat down and put a large spoonful in her mouth, her mother spoke. "So I talked to your dad," Sally said quickly. Julie immediately knew that her mom was talking about their conversation of yesterday. Julie had kind of put it out of her mind. She was scared about her father saying no way and thinking she was weird. The butterflies came back to her stomach and her pulse quickened. Julie tried to say something, but with a mouthful of cereal all that came out was "wee." She quickly chewed and swallowed. "Really?" Sally came over to the counter where Julie was eating her cereal and pulled up a stool next to her daughter. "Yeah, really?" Sally said. Julie's mind was racing. What had he said? Did he think she was crazy? She looked at her mom and nervously asked. And, well, to tell you the truth, he was a bit surprised and confused at first. It took him a minute to understand that I was serious. But once he knew I was, he listened. "Does he think I am crazy?" Julie asked timidly. Sally let out a little laugh. "No, honey, he doesn't think you are crazy. It did take him a minute to believe me, but once he did, no, he certainly never said you were crazy." Julie let out a sigh of relief. At least her dad didn't think she was nuts. But there were still some important things left unanswered. "Okay, but what did he say, Mom? I mean, what did he say about the trying policy thing?" Sally cocked her head to the side and said slowly. "Truthfully, honey, he didn't like the idea all that much at first." Julie started to frown, but I was able to bring him around to it eventually. Julie wasn't sure she had heard her mother correctly. Did she say what she thought she had said? "So he is okay with it?" Julie asked. "Well, Julie, like I said, I was able to bring him around. We talked for a while about what the trying policy was all about. And honestly, neither of us had ever thought about you asking to try anything like this. But the more we thought about it, the more we agreed that it would be okay. We both agreed that since you came to us, we should go ahead and let you try it. I mean, that was what the whole thing was all about. So, you guys are going let me try wearing diapers again?" Sally paused and looked at her daughter. "Well, honey, that's going to be up to you." Julie was a bit confused. How was it up to her? "What do you mean it is up to me, Mom? I mean, I already told you I wanted to." "Oh, yes, I know that, sweetie. But well, it is one thing to say you want to try wearing diapers, and another thing to start doing it. And moreover, if you remember, the trying policy says that your dad and I get to decide how it will work." Julie nodded her head. Her parents had always made it clear that if she wanted to try something, it was going to be on their terms. She looked at her mom and said, "Yeah, I remember that part." "Well, good," Sally said. "You see, it did take a bit of effort on my part to get your dad to agree to it. But he came up with an idea that he liked, and I decided it was a good one and went along with it." "Dad came up with the idea?" Julie asked in disbelief. "What is it?" "Well, keep in mind that I agreed with it, Julie. The idea is this. If you want to see what it is like to go back to wearing diapers, we'll let you do it. But we both agreed that in order for you to find out what it is really like, you are going to have to make a commitment. So if you want to wear diapers again, you have to do it on our terms. Just like the trying policy says." Julie started thinking. She had never given any thought as to how she was going to try doing this. In her mind, she just wanted to know what it would be like to wear a diaper again. But her mom was making this sound like something more involved. "What do you mean on your terms?" Julie asked. "Well, I mean that as long as you agree to follow the rules your dad and I came up with, we will let you do it." Julie looked a bit confused. "Well, what exactly are the rules you and Dad came up with?" she asked. Sally pulled her stool closer to Julie's. She sat up and looked at Julie. "Well, the rules are like this. First of all, if you want to do this, you are going to have to commit to it for at least 1 week." "Commit to it for a week?" a genuinely confused Julie asked. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Sally answered, "if you want to try wearing diapers, you're going to have to wear them for at least 1 whole week. No breaks, no backing out mid-week, no changing your mind. And just so we are clear here, I am talking about 24 hours a day for 7 straight days." Sally could tell that her daughter was a bit surprised at this. So she added, In case you are wondering why, I'll tell you. First of all, you said you were curious about what it is like to wear diapers. Well, we want you to understand what wearing diapers is really like, and anything less than a week won't let you do that. Second of all, I looked into what kinds of diapers I could get for you, and they don't sell them in small quantities. It's not like I can just run to the grocery store and pick up a pack of Huggies for teenagers. It turns out that the least I can buy is about a week's worth. And if I am going to buy you diapers, I am certainly not going to throw them away, and I can't give them away, so you'll just have to wear them. Julie didn't know what to think. A week sounded like an awful long time. And Mom sounded like she was saying that she would have to wear a diaper at all times. Well, like what about when I go to school and stuff? Would I have to wear a diaper to school? Julie asked meekly. 24 hours a day, Julie. That means you will be in diapers when you go to bed at night, diapers at breakfast, diapers at school, diapers at dinner, diapers all the time. Wearing diapers is not a part-time thing, honey. I mean, you are either potty trained or you are not. And if you want to do this, then for at least 1 week we are all going to pretend that you aren't. Plus, I'm not interested in having to remember when I need to be checking your diapers and when you are not even wearing them. It's just a lot easier for me if I know that you are wearing them all the time. Julie started thinking about what it would be like to have to wear diapers all the time. It was a new thought for her. In her dreams, her parents just put her in a diaper. She certainly never thought of herself going to school in them. Would people be able to tell? And what did her mom mean about pretending she wasn't potty trained? Mom, what if people can tell? I mean, what do I say to people at school and stuff? Well, first of all, I really doubt that anybody will be able to tell. But if they do see that you're wearing diaper, well, it's up to you what you want to tell them. You could always say something like you had a really bad bladder infection that you are just getting over. Julie thought about it. Her mom might be right. She had enough baggy jeans and pants and it would be hard for anyone to tell that she was wearing a diaper. But a whole week still sounded like a long time. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But then again, it was probably now or never. Julie quickly made up her mind. Well, Mom, I mean, I never really thought about wearing it for a whole week, but if that is the only way I will get to try it, I'll do it, said a determined Julie. Well, good, but there are still a few more rules I need to go over. Sally added. How many more? Julie asked reluctantly. Well, just 2, but I would think they are pretty obvious. First, if you're wearing diapers, obviously you will have to use them. And I mean for everything, no toilets allowed. Like I said, we are all going to pretend that you're not potty trained. The only time you will even be allowed to go into a bathroom will be to brush your teeth. Of course, you can also take a shower, but only when we say so. Second, you won't be allowed to change yourself, either me and your dad will take care of that. And you will also have to get used to us regularly checking your diaper to see if you need to be changed. Julie stared at her mom in disbelief. Her mom must have seen this. Julie, sweetie, don't look so shocked. I mean, if you want to try wearing diapers again, you need to see what it is really like. People who wear diapers use them, and if you want to wear diapers, you're going to have to use them too. Julie didn't know what to say. All this was certainly a lot more than she had ever bargained for. It was bad enough that she would have to wear them for a week. But she had never really thought of using them. Julie tried to think of the last time she wet her pants to see if she could even remember what that was like. But she couldn't remember. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. Gosh, Mom, I don't know. That is not exactly what I had in mind. Well, I imagine it is not. But honey, this is really what the trying policy is about. Truthfully, we always thought you would want to try something like smoking. I mean, some people think it is glamorous to smoke cigarettes and stuff, and we always figured that if you asked we would let you smoke a few because it would show you how yucky smoking is. So when we talked about this last night, we decided that if you want to try going back to diapers we would let you if you agreed to these rules. You want to know what it is like to wear diapers again, and there is only one way to find out, and that is to really try it. Putting you in diapers for a day or something won't work. So we came up with this. Well, I am not so sure this is something I would want to do, Mom. And that, Julie, is why I said it was up to you. Sally said as if making her closing argument to the jury. Take a minute to think about it. But understand that it is now or never and these rules are not flexible. I don't know, Mom. I mean, I really want to see what it is like and all. But what you are talking about doesn't sound like something I want to try. Sally had expected this. Reality is almost always disappointing compared with the ideas and dreams in our heads. Well, Julie, I would certainly understand if you said no. I mean, this is certainly not something I would ever want to do. But then again, I never had dreams about being put back into diapers. And if this is something that you have been wondering about for such a long time, maybe it would be best to see what it is really like. Otherwise you might always wonder. Julie didn't want to say it, but she was thinking the same thing. I mean, here was her chance. Her parents were offering to put her in diapers, which was something she had been wanting for longer than she could remember. And while the rules they had made were pretty bad, this was certainly the only chance she would get. Julie tried to think about what it would be like. She could probably handle the 24 hours a day part. But a whole week seemed like a really long time. What if somebody did notice? She would never live it down at school. The very thought terrified Julie. And the using them part. Julie decided to not even think about that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, Julie thought. Sally sat and watched as her little girl's mind tossed and turned. It was obvious that Julie was thinking about it. Maybe she should help her along. So, what do you think, Julie? Are we putting you in diapers or not? Gosh, Mom, I don't know. I mean, I want to and all, but... Well, Julie, let me ask you something. Are you having a hard time making up your mind? Yeah. I think you really want to say yes, but you are a little scared. Julie looked at her mom in shock. Maybe her mom could read her mind. Well, yeah, maybe a little scared. Honey, listen, I really think you should do it. Really? Stammered a very surprised Julie. Yes, really. I mean, you obviously really want to, but you are a little scared. But you were scared to even talk to me about it, and once you did, it got easier, didn't it? Well, yeah, a little bit. Well, I think this is kind of the same thing. It is hard to make the commitment, but once you do, it will get easier. Plus, I know you really want to see what it is like. If you don't do it now, you will always wonder. I would much rather you figure it out now, than spend the rest of your life wondering what could have happened if you had taken the chance. Julie bit down on her teeth and scrunched up her nose. Sally recognized that as the face her daughter made when she was building up her courage. Julie thought about the whole thing. It was kind of crazy, and certainly not how she would have wanted to do it, but it was also her only chance. The thought of having to use her diapers sent a chill down her spine, but she quickly pushed the thought out of her mind when she realized that she would never get another chance like the one before her. Now or never, huh? Julie thought to herself. I have been dreaming of this for so long. But I just don't know about the rules. Then somewhere deep in Julie's conscious a question popped up. If you say no now, will you ever forgive yourself? Julie shook her head. What the heck, why not, she said to herself. Julie took in a deep breath. Okay, I'll do it. She said quickly. Are you sure? Sally asked. Make sure you are, because if you say yes, I'll go buy the diapers while you are at school. And your week will start as soon as you get home. Yeah, I'm sure, Mom. Like you said, it is now or never, and I don't like the sound of never. Okay then. And honey, I am really glad you said yes. Sally said as she touched Julie's shoulder. Now hurry up and finish getting ready for school or you will be late. I'll drive you and go shopping after I drop you off.